I hate being the bearer of bad news with stuff, but it does seem like Microsoft lately does like one step forward, two steps back. Obviously, they want people to believe in what they're doing and to trust them. I just think that it is a little bit difficult when stuff like this crops up. I mean, obviously, there's going to be some negative stuff that happens to any platform. That's just how it's going to be, right? We're going to continue to see stuff like that happen, but at the same time, I feel like Microsoft can do a much better job at making sure that fans have stuff that works and that works the way that it's supposed to work. And that has been a bit of a problem. And this continues to be a bit of a problem because Microsoft is really touting, hey, we love game preservation and we love this and we love that. And then when you look at it from the outside, it doesn't really look like that's much of the case, right? Because they can talk about game preservation all they want. They just closed down their store on the 360 and hundreds of games are lost, pretty much forever. So, we do have that sort of situation where talk is cheap, and I've always lived by that kind of credo a little bit, and that's just that, talk is incredibly cheap, and unless you can back that up, it doesn't really matter what you say, and the fact of the matter is that Microsoft doesn't really back up what they say. For years now, Microsoft has said, hey, we're going to have a big exclusive game every quarter, and they haven't really done that either, and that's super unfortunate because we're all hoping that they can come through with that because that makes Game Pass that much better, and, until they can actually do a good job with that and make sure that people have these games to play, then I think it's going to be a problem. And that's where sort of I'm at with this bit of information right here. Again, it really kind of comes down to how you feel about this stuff personally. But for me, I feel, this is a weird situation and a bad thing to be part of. The launch model Xbox One, yeah, I know a lot of us are probably on the Series X or S or whatever, but there's actually a contingent of people still on the original Xbox One because they didn't find a reason to really upgrade to the latest one. So anyway, older firmware reportedly failing to update these Xbox One. It makes these consoles offline only unless they can fix it. So anyway, according to Digital Foundry on Eurogamer, the 2013 launch models of the console, the larger VCR-like consoles, as opposed to the Xbox One S revision in 2016, can't download the latest firmware update if they haven't been updated in a while. The report stems from a small number of claims on games forum NeoGAF that players were struggling to download updates for older Xbox One consoles. After further investigation, the Digital Foundry team found that Xbox One consoles containing outdated firmware may no longer be able to update at all. The team attempted to update 3 Xbox One consoles, 2 running a dashboard from 2017 and 1 running a dashboard from 2018. All 3 failed to update the latest firmware. Not only by trying to download the update, but by saving the update to a USB stick and trying to install it that way. Xbox consoles can't function online unless they're running the latest firmware, which means these consoles currently can't access Xbox Live and also can't run any digital purchases that need an online check, which apparently is quite a few, and it's just a really bad situation when this kind of stuff happens, because at the end of the day you need to be able to go online and do that check. So unfortunately this is a big problem, and I'm not sure if this is a problem because Microsoft originally intended for these consoles to be online only or whatever the case may be. You guys might remember that originally the consoles were going to be online mandatory and DRM and all this kind of stuff, and they're like, we can't just push a switch or whatever, you know what I mean? But the fact of the matter is, this could be a major problem going forward, and I think that's what we all kind of want to avoid, because believe it or not, there's still people out there that play on these things. And you might go, well, why would people still play on them? Listen, you have to understand, not everybody is playing the same type of games or wants to play the same type of games. And what I mean by that is there's some gamers out there that maybe only want to play Fortnite and FIFA or Madden or whatever the case may be, and so maybe they wanted to they're Roblox fans or whatever, and so why would they need to upgrade to a $500 Series X when they can just continue playing their Xbox One? Not everybody cares about resolution and all that kind of stuff. So, you can still get the latest Call of Duty on there. You can still play Apex Legends. You can still play Fortnite and Minecraft. All these things are still updated regularly on Xbox One and even PS4. So imagine if PS4s were doing this, right? Oh, they're bricking. I mean, it would be a big deal. So this is a warning about that, because obviously this is a problem going forward, and Microsoft is going to have to figure out a way to sort of work it out to get this kind of up to speed to where it needs to be. The report also points out that if somebody factory resets one of these consoles to sell it, for example, it effectively is bricking it because it won't be able to download the latest firmware as part of the initial update. Xbox One S consoles don't appear to be affected in this way, according to the report, and it also appears that the launch model Xbox One consoles that have been regularly updated over the years can continue to update as normal. It only seems like a risk for launch model Xbox consoles with older firmware. So maybe you had one sitting away in a closet or something, and you go to hook it up or whatever, and it's not going to really play. But Digital Foundry says it has contacted Microsoft about the issue and is confident the problem will be fixed, but notes that the situation raises awkward questions about the future prospects of console hardwares relying on internet connections to fully function. So this is sort of an issue where this is kind of what I was worried about when I said, well, will Microsoft one day stop making consoles? This is one of those things where if they did stop making consoles, it would be a huge problem, because you could always see stuff like this kind of crop up, and not only crop up, but what could you do then at that point? Let's say they stop making consoles. Okay, they're done making consoles now. Now what do we do, right? Well, guess what? There's not really much that you can do, because they're not making consoles. And so if there's an issue like this, they have zero questions about going out there and and doing something about it. They don't have any reason to go and do something about it. And I think that is probably the big problem with all of this stuff. So I hope that they can get this thing fixed, because again, it's not just about, oh, well, those Xbox Ones or whatever. It's also about just in general, the fact that this can happen at any point, and that it could happen at all is really kind of a disheartening thing, because obviously I've always had some issues with some of the updates and stuff like that anyway, but when you see this kind of thing and the negative side of Xbox, it does make you sort of shake your head a little bit. So again, we're living in this weird kind of world. It's a technical world. It's a world where we're waiting for the other shoe to drop a lot of the time. That's how we are with some of the negativity. And again, it's honestly a crazy thing, to say the least. So I would love to see an update on this, and I would love to see a happy ending for this, because that would make a whole heck of a lot of sense anyway for me. That's one of those things. So like I said, maybe you guys feel different about it. I don't really know. Again, it's just one of those things that people have kind of mentioned to me as like, hey, this is something that you should do a video on. Again, I don't like being the bearer of bad news. I'm sure Microsoft will fix this. They've obviously got to be able to kind of get this stuff fixed and kind of move it in a direction where they can have stuff like this ready to go. You got to be able to keep your gamers happy, because so supposedly Microsoft isn't as worried about people not buying an Xbox Series S or an X, because there's a lot of people still in Xbox One. Well, this could potentially hamper that as well. You've got to earn the trust with gamers, and I think that's a part where Microsoft is failing a little bit anyway. So we'll see how that works out. I'm interested to see what you guys think, though. Maybe sound off down below and let me know what you think. And if you are watching the video and enjoy my stuff, like it, subscribe, share it out. I really appreciate it, but especially slap that like button. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching. Crap Gamer out.